And one of the big things that we wanted to hit on the show tonight is some off-season work that some of our most prominent players that will play huge roles in either Clemson's success or their failure in the upcoming 2024 season. Some big names that are out there getting extra work in, putting in extra work. As you guys know, spring is over, right? Transition excuse me, into summertime. And Dabo Sweeney likes to refer to summertime as transformation phase for Clemson football. They end spring practice. They do exit meetings with not only Dabo Sweeney himself, but they do exit meetings with each individual position coach. Everybody gets their marching orders for the summer. This is what you need to improve on, whether it be footwork, catching, body composition, whatever the case may be. They give them their marching orders, and then it's on that player because they're not allowed to have contact over the summer, obviously, with the coaches, at least on the field type stuff. So it's on that player to really stay disciplined and make those improvements that the coaching staff want to see. And I wanted to highlight a couple people, Jordan, that have been in the media lately as far as Clemson football goes. And first and foremost, let's talk about our freshman wide receiver, newly on campus, just fresh out of spring practice, showing up and showing out. If you guys remember back to the spring game, he had an amazing catch in the end zone. He had a pretty good spring game. You could see the athleticism. You could see the speed. You could see his ability to impact this offense while on the field, his big play ability, especially in the open field, and that is none other than Bryant Wesco. If you guys all know, Bryant Wesco was a 5-star forever throughout the recruiting cycle, and then right as 247 produced their final recruitings for the 2024 class, he went from a 5-star to a 4-star. Does that really matter? No, probably not. But the one knock on Wesco when he got to campus is he's a little lean, right? He's a little small. Is he going to be durable enough to run these routes across the middle and take these hits from college athletes, right? I think he's already been clearly putting in the work, Jordan. You were telling me earlier that he's already putting on the weight. He's already obviously up to 188 pounds, nearly gained 20 pounds already put on his frame, and he's only been at Clemson for what, 3.5 months now.
Yep. Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on Brian Wesco, the transformation that he's made so far in such a short amount of time, and what do you expect him to look like come weigh-ins for fall camp? Because you know how big of a deal those weigh-ins for fall camp is when Clemson posts that to social media and everybody's going crazy. You know, did you make your weight goals? Did you not make your weight goals? Whether that be gaining weight or losing weight. So where do you see Brian Wesco come fall camp?
Yeah. I don't think it can be overstated, just kind of how big of a deal that is. And, it's one of those little things that, we don't really talk about a ton, as college football fans. Us hardcore hard fans are always like, okay, well, is he going to be big enough and all? But it's not something that you're constantly thinking about. But yeah, that was one of the biggest knocks on Bryant Wesco coming in was, he was small. I think he said at one point he weighed 166 pounds when he came in, which is, I mean, that's more than enough for high school. There's not many athletes that are going to be able to really take you down. And because he's just such an elite athlete, it didn't really matter. But the fact that he's come in and really just kind of transformed his body. Even before he talked about this, I saw a video of him training back home, and I was like, he already looks bigger than when I last saw him in the spring game, and when we saw him, get to campus, like his body looks different. He looks just a lot more filled out, and so I was like, there's no way he's not, at least 180 now. And so when he talked about it, one of the funny things that he said was that, yeah, I didn't even really do anything crazy as far as the weight room was concerned. I just started eating more. I was eating more regularly than I was in high school. And, that's kind of one of the things you don't even really think about. It's like, for some of these kids, it's like, this is their first time, having somebody really, monitoring their diet and making sure that they are, you know, getting the right nutrients every single day, and having a strength and conditioning program, like all of that, and just for some of these kids, all of a sudden without even really putting a whole lot of effort, all of a sudden their body is transformed. And so that was one of the things he said. He's like, yeah, I didn't eat as, I just started eating as much as a normal person would, and I put on the weight. And so, yeah, it's a massive deal for Clemson. It's a massive deal for the wide receiver room and for the success of this offense, because he's, he has the frame. Like, I don't expect him to lose much of his explosiveness, especially since he was so small coming in, that it wasn't really, that he was going to be able to put on 20 pounds and still be, the athlete that he was before. So it's a big deal. Makes him even more of a option, and makes his body even more ready for the college game. So, and you asked, like, where do I think he'll be when fall camp comes? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he got up to, close to 200 by the time we get to fall camp. So that would be really nice. I think that ultimately, I think that would be a good weight for him. Yeah, even if he was like a shy like 195, but I think 200, at 6'2", I think that's good for a wide receiver, without putting on a ton of weight and losing a step. So yeah, big deal for Clemson, big deal for the wide receiver room, big deal for Cade, big deal for Wesco himself, because it's important for his health and durability to just kind of put on that mass, and just for his ability as a receiver, it just makes him more of an option. So really good to see that he's making a lot of progress, because that was obviously one of the, as talented as he was, that was one of the big concerns. It's like, well, is he going to be, will we be able to play him as much as we want to? Because we're worried if, like, he takes a hit, it's like he's out for the count. So massive deal.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is very evident that Bryant Wesco will be an integral part of this offense, and its ability to be explosive for the first time in probably 3 seasons. If this offense is going to be explosive, Bryant Wesco is going to be a part of that explosiveness that this offense has. And it is very clear, very evident, that he is taking his nutrition serious. He is taking his physical fitness and the hours that he must be putting in the gym, because look, man, like, it's not easy to put on that kind of weight in this amount of time if you're Bryant Wesco. He's a leaner guy, right? He's not, he doesn't have the frame where he's going to quickly add muscle, right? It takes guys like Bryant Wesco working a whole lot harder in order to maintain weight. So you can clearly see, we don't need to be watching Bryant Wesco day in and day out like the coaching staff to know that dude's absolutely putting in every single bit of work that he possibly can. Because if he wasn't, he wouldn't already be up 20 pounds, right? You said he came in at one point, according to him, he was 166. Well, he's 188. So that's 22 pounds already, right? So I can't wait to see if he's even remotely close to 200 pounds by the time fall camp rolls around. I'm telling you what, people better watch out, because dude he's the real deal. He's the truth. And as long as he's able to continue to be his explosive self, continue his athleticism at that weight, which I have no doubt that he will be able to, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this coming season, and he's going to be a big key for this Clemson offense coming up in 2024.